everybody, and welcome to the M&M Show. We have reached, of course, the end of April. Our word for the month was curiosity. So, Michelle, straight over to you. What has sparked your curiosity in the month of April?
Yes, curiosity. Hey, Emma.
Hey.
So curiosity occurs for me a lot on the tennis court when I'm coaching. And I'm always curious as to what is going on in the brain of that athlete who is on the court with me. And so, of course, that prompts a lot of the questions, which then my reaction is to ask, specific questions. And and again, it sparks their curiosity, okay, because they're not thinking. So we've all had this happen as coaches. They hit some shot that it might be really not good. It might be a very bad, like it's 20 feet out. But you also have to be curious about the good shots as well. Like when somebody hits a great shot, they do something really well. I will say, well, what was good about that? Like that was good, but and make them answer that question and then become curious about themselves. And can they give you an answer? Now, I feel like a high percentage of the time when I ask the athletes a question, they think and they pondered it. And usually their answer is, I don't know. Do you get that a lot?
I do.
Yeah, and that's okay because that is an answer. And if they don't know, that's why we're there as the coach to help coach them through that, and why or why not that might be happening. So I think being curious on the court as a coach, but also as the athlete, why did that happen? Why was I not in position? Why did these are pretty basic questions. Why did that ball go into the net? And just to hear answers sometimes and just to see people's brains process. I think that helps immensely with the retention and moving the learning along. Don't you?
Oh, 100%. I love that you've spoke about this topic. You would have seen in the mindset tip in the month of April, we spoke about great coaches ask great questions. And also I had these lucky dip cards where one of the cards is the player has to ask the coach a question to get a bonus point, which is exactly what you just said.
Right, exactly.
So cool that, that you're curious about that, experimenting, exploring that. And we invite all coaches to do that. And I love questions that focus on what can they do better next time and what did they do well, and not just as coaches as well, focusing on the last hit. Often, there could be this, especially in cardio, tennis and intensity fitness, this long rally, right? And then somebody dumps that easy volley in the net and we all focus on, what could you have done better on that volley? But what you just said there, I just want to pick up on. I love the fact that you could have said, hey, tell me 2 things that were really high quality about the point, and you're not allowed to focus on the last shot.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Because it's not necessarily about the last shot. It's everything that leads up to it. But the other question there is, okay, you're playing this great point. What did happen at the end? Like, again, what went through your brain that you dumped that ball in the net when things were going so well? So
and
good.
It's not
very
always
curious.
It's not always the swing shape, is it? It's like you just said. If we can get curious about, was it the fact that they were just thinking about that they had what they had to pick up for dinner that night, that sometimes it just lost the focus, or, so the holistic approach, which you and I are very much into.
One of the a question I think that I ask a lot of times is, okay, are you aiming? Like, are you actually aiming? And probably 80% of the time, the answer is no. And then it's like, well, there you go. Okay.
And can I jump in there and with my passion to say, where do you need to be aiming next time? I love the quality of next time. I love future-based questions. Because as you said, they'll go, no. And then sometimes that can cement that, I did it again and again and again.
Right.
And having a vision for what you want them to visualize, where you want them to aim, or what the intention is, or where the target is, which is exactly what you're trying to get them to connect with, is sometimes so powerful, because, we are so hard on ourselves. As you said, we have 65,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're already like, yes, I did it again, or I didn't do this, or I didn't move my feet. And yes, self-awareness is step one, but it's amazing. Most people already have that innate ability to self-assess quite critically and quite quickly.
Right.
So getting them to connect with that future-based, that's why I love what specifically questions, and next time questions, and how might, because that's a future-based little linguistic tool that me. I love language and the power of positive questioning. But anyway, I just went out of focus there.
I know.
My intended target.
Focus.
There we go. I'm back.
Okay, great.
So curiosity for me this month.
Yeah. What was your big thing?
So I'm going to be a bit vulnerable here around talking about my book that I started many, many years ago. Let's not talk about when it started. And I've had recently a business coach from Melbourne who I studied under, who's an incredible coach, come into my life. And more recently, because, I spent a lot of time with her when I first started studying all business coaching back in 2008. And she has offered to collaborate on the book and really help me finish the project, because finishing had been a little bit of a gap, or a little bit of a block around that. And so she's really come in and said, content's great. And here's the really interesting thing about collaborating on a project that I've already written 155,000 words myself, which was huge effort. And now to have somebody who's written a couple of books and so experienced, who loves tennis, who's in the business world, to bring my thoughts around coaching in business and sport together is so cool. And what sparked my curiosity is the intersection between what makes a great coach from the perspective of the player and the coach. So as you probably realize, I've definitely interviewed you on the coaching podcast, and I've re-earthed it lately. And that's our holy grail question. Our third question is always in 1 to a maximum of 3 words. What makes a great coach? So as an example, going back over almost 500 responses now to this question, we've got some pretty cool answers from, and then I realized it's not just coaches. So Nick Bollettieri at the Rome Symposium, he said, knowing your student, right? So now Jim Courier at the PTR Symposium, I asked him, right? Okay. So you've got the coach, and yes, he's a former student, right? But was an exceptional player. And he said his 3 words were patience, empathy, and pliability. So when I think about
playability or
pliability, flexibility, being able to adapt, right? So what I've been curious about is I've been gathering the data now and taking a deeper dive and looking at the intersection. So what is the intersection of what the coach thinks makes a great coach, and what does the player think makes a great coach? So in that example, you can see knowing the student and empathy are really connected. To me, that's at the intersection of what makes a great coach through their lens caps.
So are you getting that feedback? Are you finding similar feedback from the player, from the athlete, and the coach? Are you seeing a lot of repetition of a lot of the same words?
It's about 50-50. But there's a through line with the word someone who listens. That's very high on it's the top 3 of all the 500 responses, is listening. So that's another through line and will no doubt end up being chapter 1. So now we're just reworking the whole manuscript into 10 qualities of what makes a great coach, based on and anyway, I'm just really curious now to see in a lot of the chapters, I haven't just, because when I wrote it, it was just all about the coach. But let's think about what makes a great coach through the lens cap of the player. If we're a player-centered coach, or we're always talking about put the player at the center of the learning. Well, if we do that, if we put them in the center of what makes a great coach, combined with what great coaches think makes a great coach, then that's what's been sparking my curiosity.
Well, now I think you've sparked all of our curiosity because we want your book to be ready, okay,
This
so
year,
that we can all read it. So,
this year,
so no,
this year.
okay. Well, I think you're definitely on the path,
Okay.
and I have no doubt that you will meet that accomplishment. And it sounds like having this colleague helping you is gonna skyrocket this.
Yeah.
So we're all curious and we're all excited for when this book
Yeah.
is finished, and I'm
Yeah.
proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm proud of you too. So,
Thank you.
and we're proud of all our listeners. And we know
Yeah,
this episode
yeah,
is a bit longer. We were saying this year
yeah.
they're going to be a bit shorter, but we can't help
I know
ourselves
we
when we do
can't.
it
We
together.
cannot help ourselves.
We
I
hope
know.
you feel the energy. We hope you feel the positive spirit. And of course, let us know what you were curious about in the month of April. And we can't wait to see you next month. Thanks so much, Michelle.
All right. Thanks, Emma. Have a great day.
Bye for now.